A huge day. A huge day in South Carolina and in national politics yesterday. The Republican governor, Nikki Haley, after a few days of consultations after the horrible tragedy in Charleston, came out, and this is an issue that if you've covered presidential politics or South Carolina politics, this has been with us for a couple of decades at least. Nikki Haley says, no insult to those who support the Confederate flag, but it's time, she says, to get it off the South Carolina State House grounds. Let's listen.
As a state, we can survive, and indeed we can thrive, as we have done, while still being home to both of those viewpoints. We do not need to declare a winner and a loser here. We respect freedom of expression, and that for those who wish to show their respect for the flag on their private property, no one will stand in your way. But the State House is different, and the events of this past week call upon us to look at this in a different way.
Takes guts. A former Republican governor, David Beasley, tried this once, and it became his quicksand. Where does this go for her? She needs two-thirds approval in the legislature now. I made some calls and emails into South Carolina. It appears like she's okay. No one knows for sure the final vote, but business interests, key people in the legislature, because one of the victims, of course, the pastor was a state senator as well, has a lot of Republican friends. But this was gutsy.
It really was. And I think that is in some ways why it was so unusual to see a politician who actually has a real stake in this come out and say, I am going to lead on this. I am going to take the lead on this issue. It's a tough issue in South Carolina. Like you said, this is something that has been really divisive in this state. It seems like there is some support in the State House there. Certainly Republicans as a whole, as a national party, are behind her now. We know that Democrats have been behind her on this position. Walmart coming out and saying that they're going to take the Confederate flag off the shelves, I think, is a big step. So it seems like she politically is in a good position. But again, I just think a real moment of leadership from a politician that was refreshing.
Gutsy was Zell Miller trying this in 1992, a Democrat in Georgia, and almost losing re-election. Gutsy is Jeb Bush doing this in 2001. This is a case where the legitimate pride some people have for their flag in the South, has been far outweighed by the pain that it causes many people for years and years and years. So this is a case where I think, commendably, we had a leader down there who was willing to be led by the people. She wasn't out in front of this, but she eventually did the right thing, and she does deserve credit for that. And hopefully the rest of the South Carolina legislature will do the same thing.
And she did Republican presidential candidates a favor here because they were sort of all over the place. And this has become, Mike Huckabee saying it's not a question for a president. Well, of course it's a question for a president at a time of a national tragedy. Rick Santorum saying, I don't know enough about it. I don't know where he's been for the last 15 years.
Who stepped up on that, though? That was Mitt Romney who gave him the cover and eventually, created, over the course of a couple of days, it got Nikki Haley where she needed to be.